and welcome to your Monday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Michael Annan.
And I'm student meteorologist Jonathan Marcus.
Yeah, it's looking like it was a great start to the work week. Nice, clear, some clear skies outside, pretty warm.
Yeah, we've had very nice conditions across the entire region today.
Yeah.
Maybe an isolated rain shower or two in the northern parts of the viewing area.
Yeah.
But not that much going on in terms of weather right now.
Yeah, but that's unfortunately going to change as we go into the middle part of work week. We have a lot of rain expected, especially in the Georgia counties. Might have some concerns with river flooding. Remember, rivers are pretty high across the region, especially with the Apalachicola and Flint River.
And then we have this strong cold front system moving in later this week, and eventually that might turn into a stationary front, which is why we have that flooding risk.
Yeah, and there's also a severe weather potential we have with the system, especially late Wednesday into early Thursday. A lot of this we're going to talk about tonight, but it's looking to be pretty active, but I don't know what it is with the timing of these systems. Wednesday and Thursday.
Every Thursday for the past month or so, we keep getting these cold fronts.
And then it gets cool during the weekend. The weekend is looking absolutely perfect, so that's good.
Yeah, so weekend weather's clear, but your weekday plans might get rained on.
Yeah, and we also have daylight savings time this weekend. That actually officially begins.
Yeah, I'm not happy about losing an hour of sleep. So.
Oh, I like the extra sun
Yeah,
in
but
the
you
evening.
lose an hour of sleep.
I get to play more golf in the spring and summer, so that actually helps me. So,
But for now, we're gonna go ahead and pass things off to take a look at these issues and other things going on in the show with the overview with Zach.
And we might be getting more sunlight in for daylight savings time, but right now we're not getting as much sunlight as we normally have. We normally see the skies bright and clear, especially this weekend. Very nice conditions over the weekend, but cloudy conditions into the evening tonight. Currently 67 degrees, and it's been breezy out there and cloudy conditions. Here's what we're looking at on the radar. We see showers a little bit more towards the north of us in the west, but not much going on in Tallahassee, but that's going to be changing over the next couple of days as we have a warm front pushing through, and then a cold front is going to be coming through later in the week. So the big picture is showing that warm front that's sort of draped across the region, and that's going to carry on that cloud cover that we're seeing. So the clouds are going to be sticking around, and then we have a cold front that's going to lift all that moisture that was generated by that warm front up into the coming days, likely on Wednesday or Thursday. And as we can see, we have those rain chances building into the week, and then we have some temperatures dropping a little bit, but not too much. Let's send things off to Chris.
Thank you, Zach. Right now we're going to take a closer look at the southeast. Right now we're fairly warm. There is this moisture bubble right here, which is, if you remember 2 slides ago with Zach, there was a warm front situated right here. So right in front of that warm front, that's where we're expecting to see moisture, and is where, in fact, we are seeing rainfall right now. Our dew points, it's a little bit dry out there, but overall, most of the moisture throughout the nation is concentrated in the southeast. With our wind speeds, we can see this southerly flow that's bringing a lot of that warm, moist air off of the Gulf, and is what's been fueling this warm front situated behind it. On our satellite radar, once again, we can see this warm front. In front of the warm front, we see this light rainfall situated, covering up a lot of South Carolina, a lot of northern and central Georgia, and a little bit of rain to its south. On our drought monitor, though, we're thinking southeast has been getting a lot of rainfall. There is still some droughts down in this Tallahassee bubble. We have received very little rainfall, respectively, to the rest of the southeastern region, as well as there's a large drought down in South Texas, with some areas extending into the extreme drought area. On our moisture forecast, see, we're going to have that southerly flow push in, filling the southeast with that warm, moist Gulf air, but around Friday, cold front's going to come in, it's going to push all that out, and we're going to have nice, cooler temperatures, a lot drier conditions pushing into the weekend. Over the next 24 hours, you can see some of these storm systems start to develop as that cold front starts to push south. It'll move in through the region, pulling that moisture out of the area. The 3-day rainfall, there's going to be a lot of rain impacting central Georgia, as well as central and eastern Alabama. Tallahassee is thankfully going to get 1 to 2 inches of rain, which is going to relieve their drought a little bit. But overall, in the areas that we've seen a lot of rain from January and February, they're going to starting to look like they're getting a lot of rain this March. Tonight's forecast, it's going to be partly cloudy, except for where you started seeing those fronts come in. You're going to start seeing some more rain showers up in the north, and that's going to be carrying on into tomorrow and even extending places further and further south. Overall, it's going to be a fairly warm day. Tallahassee is going to be 78 degrees. It's going to be 82 in Miami. It's going to cool down all the way to 63 degrees in Charlotte. But for now, I'm going to pass things off to Jonathan with a local look. Just grab my fork.
So taking a look at our current conditions, 67 degrees in Tallahassee with these clouds producing a pretty sunset in the region. Southerly flow is going to be one of the themes of the show, and that is going to create temperatures that are fairly mild across the region. These temperatures stretch from the 70s on the eastern half of our viewing area into the 60s and the upper 60s in the western portion of the viewing area. Looking ahead at our satellite and radar, there isn't that much activity here in Tallahassee, but we do have scattered showers stretching from the Gulf Coast a little bit upwards into southern Georgia, and then we have a bigger swath of rainfall in central Georgia stretching into central Alabama. Zooming in on the Tallahassee region, like I said, not that much activity in the greater Tallahassee area, but notice we do have these scattered showers stretching from Valdosta through Dothan and down into Defuniak Springs. And these, unfortunately, are not going to do much to help our drought monitor. Whereas in Wakulla County, we are in a severe drought. Leon County and Jefferson County, we are only in a moderate drought. But these conditions should be alleviated by the frontal system we have moving in later this week. Through the next 24 hours, we do have a chance of scattered showers moving in from the Gulf through the region. But other than that, not very much organized convection moving in. Tonight's forecast, 61 in Tallahassee, 61 in Monticello. Not that much going on, except we do have those chances of scattered showers up in Thomasville and Bainbridge and down in Apalachicola. But moving on to tomorrow, notice we do have that thunderstorm icon here in Tallahassee and down in Apalachicola. These are produced by these scattered showers that we've shown in the forecast model moving through the region. Down by the coast, it'll be a little bit cooler associated with that sea breeze, but up here in Tallahassee, 78 tomorrow, 79 in Bainbridge. Warm temperatures forecast for the majority of the region, and this is going to be a great day to get outside, but you might want to bring a rain jacket or an umbrella with you to class just in case one of those scattered showers does impact your region. But I'm going to go ahead and pass things off onto the desk with Zach and Chris to take a look at daylight savings time happening later this week.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. As you said earlier, we're going to start talking about daylight savings time.
So on Sunday, we are going to enter into the period of daylight savings time. So we're going to gain an hour in our evening. So extra sunlight, I know that's something that we're going to be taking advantage of here in the meteorology program.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the extra sunlight, but it's a double-edged sword. You know, I'm not looking forward to losing that hour of sleep.
And on Sunday, we actually do have our annual Radar Cup, so we're going to be out playing golf. So we'll have a little bit of extra time to do that before the sun sets on Sunday then. But actually, the Florida legislature is looking into making daylight savings time a permanent thing.
Yeah, so the Florida legislature is currently debating a bill that will keep us in daylight savings time year-round.
Mm-hmm. And this is definitely to promote tourism. Florida tourists, they sort of like to sleep in, and then they like to stay up late. So they want to promote people being out on the beaches a little bit later, give them a little bit more time to stay out on the beaches, which is definitely a big tourist thing for the Florida.
Yeah, I get that extra hour of sunlight year-round is what they're proposing. And this is actually not the first state that has this been proposed to.
Yeah, this is also in Hawaii and Arizona, they observe it. And this is a similar thing in Hawaii. We sort of see a similar trend as far as tourism in Hawaii. So they have that extra hour in the evenings for them there.
Yeah, Hawaii is also a lot closer to the equator, so their days are a lot more uniform throughout the year. Whereas you start moving further and further north, as the seasons go by, you start losing hours of sunlight or gaining hours of sunlight, depending on whether it's fall or spring.
Yeah, and it may seem like it's a good idea, but it might cause a headache for some people, especially if you live sort of on that border close to Florida and Georgia. You could be off potentially by an hour just by crossing the border.
Yeah, and even if you start moving to the western part of the Panhandle, you might even be off by 2 hours in some places.
Yep.
But for now, we're going to hand things off back to the wall with Michael and our look at the national.
Yeah, thanks, Chris and Zach. And with meteorological spring starting yesterday, you get these wide temperature variations. Look at this. Falcon Lake yesterday got up to 95 degrees, but then if you go to Peterson's, Wyoming, this morning, it was negative 26. So we're getting into that time of year where we get these very wide temperature variations in our nation. And you can see that we do have a frontal system in the middle part of the country, much colder conditions up towards the north with 34 in Minneapolis, but then down towards the southeast, especially the lower Mississippi River Valley, 68 in Memphis and 76 in New Orleans. And you can also see where that front is based on our dew points. Much more southerly flow and Gulf moisture ahead of it with 60-degree dew point in Memphis, 65 in New Orleans, but then north of it, much lower dew points with those dew points in the teens, 20s, and 30s, 22 in Minneapolis and 34 in Kansas City. And there's our satellite radar showing you that frontal boundary separating those two air masses. We do have a weak warm front to the southeast, and north of that, that extra lift is bringing in those showers, especially into the Atlanta metro region, an area that they don't really need any more rainfall. And then another frontal boundary up towards North Dakota, giving them some showers, and then in the colder air, some snow showers as well. Off towards the eastern coastline, ahead of that cold front and north of that warm front you saw in Alabama, we do have some shower activity. No thunder or lightning associated with that. But again, a lot of these locations have seen a lot of rainfall for 2020, and they don't need much more rain. The rivers are already high, and we already have some major flooding concerns. And in addition to that, we do have some severe weather concerns in the Memphis region, a slight risk in effect for today. Luckily, none of these have gone severe, but there still is a potential for that for the next few hours going into the overnight. Then as we go into tomorrow, that cold front starts to sag a little bit south, and especially in southern Texas where we're expecting a low to develop, that's where we're expecting a slight risk for severe weather, so a little higher chance of getting a scattered severe storm in those regions. And as we go into Wednesday, that low drags along the Gulf Coast that formed in Texas tomorrow, and New Orleans, Biloxi, Mississippi, Mobile, and even into Pensacola has a slight chance for severe weather. And then as we go into Thursday, that risk moves into Tallahassee. We'll get the storm outlook for day 3 tomorrow, so you'll see that even better. The next 24 hours does show you that cold front slowly sagging towards the south, but it's eventually going to stall in the southeast, and that's going to really alleviate the flooding concerns, especially in central Georgia, central Alabama, southern Georgia, and the river levels are already high up there. So it doesn't need much rainfall to really increase those river levels and exacerbate those flooding concerns. Meanwhile, we get some snow up towards the Canadian-U.S. border with the system. For tonight, much more southerly flow ahead of the cold front gives you some warm overnight lows with 67 in New Orleans, 53 in Atlanta, and then the northerly flow behind this cold front gives some very chilly conditions, 39 in Kansas City and 31 in Minneapolis. Pretty average for this time of year, honestly, up there. And then for tomorrow, you can kind of see where the frontal boundary really sets up with some 70s and 80s ahead of it, with some 60s and 50s behind it, but still cloudy conditions up towards Memphis and Atlanta with those showers expected. Now let's send it off to Zach with a look at our next local.
That national picture shows a lot going on across the nation, and a lot of that's going to be the setup for what we're going to be expecting in the local region over the next couple of days, especially with the severe weather threat that's coming through into Wednesday and Thursday. But for now, let's look at our rainfall almanac. And we haven't observed any rain today here in Tallahassee, but they have been seeing some showers a little bit to the west of us, a little bit to the north of us. Around this time of year, we see roughly about a 1/4 inch on today. And we haven't seen yet much rainfall this month, but the month hasn't been going for very long. We're only on the 2nd day of the month, but we are well behind for the year, and that is why we actually are in a drought. So currently 67 degrees, and we have the sun peeking out a little bit now. Earlier it was just full of clouds back there, so we are starting to see a little bit of a sunset, and it's been very breezy today, and the cloud cover is going to be sticking around over the next couple of days. Our temperatures right now, we're seeing 67 in Tallahassee, a little bit warmer over here in Perry, 71 and 70, and we're going to stay with these muggy temperatures over the next couple of days because a warm front's draping over our region, and it's carrying in a southerly flow, bringing in some warm air, so we can expect to see some upper 60s, lower 70s over the next couple of days till that cold front comes in into Thursday. So our dew point, we're actually seeing relatively comfortable dew point, which is a little bit surprising for all that southerly moisture we're getting off the Gulf. So 57 dew point for Tallahassee. So 70 is about the point where you start to feel pretty muggy outside and pretty disgusting, but 57 is a little bit more on the comfortable side, comfortable conditions, just a little warm, but not necessarily humid. So here's our big picture showing the southeast, and we do have that low pressure system that's hanging out north of Louisiana over Missouri right there, and then we have this warm front that's draping across the region, and that's going to be what's causing all those cloud cover over the next couple of days, and that's going to be driving in the moisture to set up our severe weather that we might be seeing into Wednesday and Thursday whenever that cold front pushes through. So right now we do have a little bit of rain more to the north of us around Atlanta, and we have all this cloud cover that's building up into the southeast right now. Next 48 hours shows cloud cover sticking around and maybe a little splash of a shower in Tallahassee waking up tomorrow around 7:30, but most of the rain is going to be moving in more towards Wednesday, so we might have a few splashes, but then looking into Wednesday, that's whenever most of the rain is going to come, and we'll see a little bit more yellow, a little bit more heavy rain, as well as some lighter areas of rain into the evening on Wednesday. So if for our 3-day rain forecast, whenever this severe weather comes through, we could potentially be seeing a decent amount of rainfall, which is a concern for our rivers because our rivers are at flood stage, but we are in a drought right now. So we might have some relief there for the drought, but as far as flooding with our rivers, I don't know about that one. But for now, let's send things off to the desk.
So sometimes as meteorologists, we throw these terms out there like cold front, stationary front, warm front, and sometimes we know that people don't know what these terms mean. So what we want to do right now is we want to go ahead and give an education on the types of fronts. So first we have the cold front.
So the cold fronts, they're drawn in blue. They have the blue line with the blue triangles. They move majority of the time starting from the north, moving down towards the south, as it has the cold air behind it and the storms are going to be out in front.
Yeah, so with a cold front you usually have your more severe weather, and then with a warm fronts are usually drawn in red, and they usually have these red circles drawn ahead of them. Warm air comes in behind the front, and then clearing conditions out behind the front as well.
Yeah, the storms associated with warm fronts tend to last longer than cold fronts, but they're not as severe.
Yes, and then another type, and this is the type that we're getting this week, is the stationary front, and that happens when the front sort of just stalls out and doesn't really move.
Yeah, so either a warm front or a cold front can become a stationary front. It's just when a front stops moving, the rain's just going to settle in either in front or behind, in sometimes both cases.
Yeah, so sometimes with our stationary front, and this is what could happen later this week and why we keep talking about flash flooding, is the rain sort of trains over the same area because the front's not moving, the rain can't move that far, and then that creates some issues such as flash flooding and river flooding. So these stationary fronts, they aren't as exciting as the warm or the cold fronts because you don't get that temperature change, but in regards to precipitation, they can be quite dangerous.
Yeah, because they hit the same area over
And then a last little unknown type of front that we have is an occluded front.
Yeah, this is the least known front. It's drawn in purple, and it's what happens when a cold front pushes through and meets a warm front.
Or vice versa.
During a cyclonic low. Pushes in, and basically when a occluded front forms, the cyclone is going to start dying. It's a very sad moment for meteorologists as the storm will essentially stop dropping in pressure and start losing its strength.
Yeah, so occluded fronts aren't necessarily the most famous, but if you're ever looking at a weather map, just know that cold fronts are blue, warm fronts are red. We usually associate cold and warm temperatures with those colors. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and pass things off onto the wall with Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Chris and Jonathan. Speaking about cold fronts, we had a significant cold front move through Florida, and the temperatures are finally moderating after the effects of that cold front. You can see much warmer conditions across the central and southern part of the state today, with temperatures in the 70s and close to upper 70s in Fort Myers, 76 down there. A little cooler out towards the Panhandle with 70 in Pensacola and 67 in Tallahassee. The dew points have also risen a little bit as we've got the southerly flow returning. Remember, the dew points were in the 30s at the end of last week on our Friday show. Now they're starting to get back to more of those tropical values with some 50s and 60s pretty much statewide, except for Orlando, but they're pretty much close to 50 at 49 for their dew point. You can also note the change in the wind direction compared to last week. Last week we had that northerly flow. Now with the high pressure moved off into the Atlantic, and getting that southeasterly and southerly flow ahead of our next system that will move through the state going into Thursday and Friday. So it's a little breezy as well. I noticed that today when I went out for lunch, 12 miles per hour in Tallahassee and 12 in Pensacola. Now the satellite and radar shows you with the warm front moving up north, you do have some scattered showers off towards the Panhandle in Defuniak Springs, Mariana, and Panama City. The rest of the state is looking pretty good with some partly cloudy skies in the central part and mostly clear conditions down towards the southern part of the state. Now for the next 24 hours, that southerly flow does give you the chance for some showers down towards South Florida and some mainly cloudy conditions up towards the Panhandle of Florida. And those cloudy conditions are going to really remain up until late Thursday, early Friday for the Panhandle as that front does move through. Now for tonight's forecast, temperature's not going to be as cool as the last few nights with those much more moisture in the air and that southerly flow. So middle 50s to the middle 60s around the state, with middle 50s in the interior locations of the central part, and then 60s up towards the Panhandle of Florida. And then tomorrow, southerly flow gives you that much more warmer air and much more moisture as well, with the chance of some thunderstorms up toward the Panhandle, 74 in Pensacola, and then much warmer conditions, especially in Orlando, 86 degrees as a high tomorrow. We might actually get close to 90 on Wednesday. That is a possibility. So it's going to really warm up these next few days. For Miami, you can see the conditions are looking pretty good out there. Mostly cloudy skies to partly cloudy skies with temperatures in the low 80s and morning lows in the low 70s. For Orlando, looking great conditions as well. We only have forecasted 84, so a little trending lower as compared to a few days ago. But once we get into Thursday, that cold front that's affecting us on Wednesday into Thursday affects Orlando. So if you're heading out to Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer Invitational to watch Phil Mickelson and other stars, might be a little bit of a dreary day on Thursday, but at least warm with temperatures in the 60s to start with and then in the 80s for the afternoon. Out towards Melbourne, Tyler's hometown, same thing with nice conditions on Tuesday and Wednesday in the 80s, and then the cold front starts to move through on Thursday, so that brings a chance of some showers with temperature at 84 degrees and 60s in the morning. Now I'm going to send it off to Chris with a final look at our local forecast.
Thank you, Michael. As we're going to pass through a few cities that we sadly could not get to. Currently, right now in Tallahassee, we're situated at 67 degrees, partly cloudy skies. You can't really see the sunset as it's covered by this graphic and these low clouds, but there is most certainly a sun. I have seen it earlier today, but you cannot see it right now. We have winds coming out of the south at 11 miles an hour. Temperatures right now, we're sitting very comfortable in the upper to mid 60s. Valdosta is actually a warm spot right now at 70 degrees. Tallahassee, again, we're at 67, 66 in Quincy. Our wind speeds, they're coming up out of that south as that warm front is situated above us. So we have the southerly winds pushing that warm front northward, creating that warm air advection that is going to be increasing our dew points. However, our muggy meter, we're not feeling dew points that bad because we've been very dry fairly recently. And right now we're still feeling nice and happy. Over by the coast, you might be having my normal, typical expression of that neutral face. But overall, we're feeling very nice in Tallahassee area. Satellite radar, you can see this warm front I was alluded to. It's coming in. We had those southerly winds pushing that warm front northward and bringing a little bit of scattered showers behind us due to that warm air advection behind the front. Overall, over the next 24 hours, we're going to have a bit of those scattered showers start push into Tuesday, but nothing too bad. You could sort of see a bit severe storms up to the north. Tonight, though, we're going to cool down to 59 degrees, so overall a great night, except there's a chance of some showers. So if you're going out tonight, I would recommend bringing a jacket or an umbrella just in case, and just be aware that there might be a little rain shower or two. Moving into tomorrow, again, it's going to be mostly cloudy. We're going to warm up to 78 degrees, mostly cloudy day. There might be some showers, so I wouldn't get too sad, as the showers aren't going to actually start falling until our synoptic midterm on Wednesday, as there's a 50% chance of rainstorms. Everything goes bad on Wednesday. It's a 100% chance of sadness that day, but only 50% chance of rain. Tuesday, again, 68. We're going to start cooling down once that front finally pushes in from Thursday into Friday. Thursday is somehow more sad than our synoptic day weather-wise, but there was nothing in. Moving into this weekend, it's going to feel great. Look out for a daylight savings time on Sunday. Monday's also shaping to be a great day, but for now, I'm going to pass things off to the desk with Michael and Zach.
Well, Chris, you basically described the 7-day for all of us. Yeah, it's kind of going to be miserable on Wednesday no matter what the weather is.
Yeah, and hopefully that's not foreshadowing for the exam, but we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah.
But we do have some severe weather potentially moving in Wednesday into Thursday. And
Yeah.
then we're expecting a clear weekend ahead, so always some good news. It seems like that's the trend.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Every single week in the month of February and now going into March, you have the stormy weather on Wednesday due to a cold front, and then it either extends it to Thursday, and then by the time we get to Friday, it's perfect conditions for outdoor activities.
Yeah, I know. I produce the Thursday show, and every single week I'm producing, I always have a front coming through right on my show. And then last week it threw me for a loop. The front came on Wednesday last week, so we had clear conditions Thursday, and now it's back to the Thursday pattern again.
Yeah, but honestly, look at that weekend. Honestly, perfect. Middle 60s, just a little bit below average for the time of year, but it feels like the beginning of spring in those terms and conditions.
And we're going to be seeing comfortable lows too, because normally when the front's been coming through, we've been seeing 30s. We did have some frost last weekend, so lows in the 40s, very comfortable waking up in the morning, and comfortable conditions in the afternoons at highs.
Yeah, you're starting to see the air mass from the north moderating a little bit now. So, but don't forget to follow us on all of our social media outlets with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And we are streaming live on YouTube again now, so I'm sure if you're watching this now, you know that. But if you're watching the recording later, be sure to check us out on YouTube, 6 o'clock stream time.
Yep, exactly. But we'll keep you updated on the severe weather potential going into late Wednesday into Thursday. We'll have more details about that, especially tomorrow. So we'll keep you updated for our show.
And as always, if you have any pictures of severe weather safely, you can always send that to us and we can put it on our show. But as for now, we're going to close out the show. I'm student meteorologist Zach Law.
I'm student meteorologist Michael London. We will see you tomorrow.